See all new vibe, Houston's culture, powered by KTSU 90.9. Michele McKnight here, and it is Women Crushing It Wednesday. First Women Crushing It Wednesday of, what is it, international or national history, or just Women's History Month in general?
All of that.
All of that. And I have a special guest that is joining me on the show, and she is not unfamiliar to Women Crushing It Wednesday. She actually was formerly a guest on the show. Coach Shaundra Dineen, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm super excited to have you here. And the reason being, and the reason I asked you to come back is because I wanted to kick the month off with some positive energy. We do this Women Crushing It Wednesday segment really just to kind of shine a light on women specifically here in the city of Houston, as well as our community that are doing great things. Because I think that a lot of times they kind of get outshined by people who maybe have a huge Instagram following, or people that have, international notoriety of some sort. However, it's a lot of people that are here locally in our city that are doing great things that deserve some recognition as well. And so with it being Women's History Month, and women, I think, just kind of really taking to heart, okay, I got to be dope. I got to be this. I'm constantly being reminded that there are women out here that are at an entirely different level than me, that may be younger than me. But I think that sometimes you have to kind of take a step back and still make sure that you're implementing certain steps for self-care, because as long as you're taking care of yourself,
you're good for others.
Exactly. Yes. And so that is why I'm happy to have you here. Coach Shaundra Dineen is a life coach extraordinaire, as well as the host of Do It Afraid podcast.
Yes.
And so I wanted to know if you could share some tips with the ladies here at the beginning of the month of March that they should just kind of adhere to take care of themselves this month.
Well, thank you for the invitation of coming back. And this is such an important topic for women because we are everything. We're mothers, we're partners, we're employees, sisters, you name it, we wear the hat. And it is so important that we take a few minutes, step back, and just focus on ourselves. And it's hard for us to do that sometimes because we are by nature nurturers and carers of other people, but we don't stop to take time to care for ourselves. So one thing that off the top, rest. Take time to rest, y'all. Rest your mind, rest your body. Listen to your body.
That's a hard one for me.
It is hard as you flew in here at 100 miles per second. I can imagine, but we have to take that time to rest. Listen to our bodies. A lot of times we'll feel headaches. I have a mild headache. That's your body telling you to stop. You feel thirsty. That's your body telling you to stop. You need to replenish and rejuvenate yourself. So that first thing is rest. Schedule it in your day. Schedule 15 minutes and I'm going to sit still and do nothing. Take a power nap, but you have to rest. The second one is eating, healthy eating habits. And it's easy for us to pick up stuff on the go. It's easy for us to nibble off of our kids' plate or eat whatever we're preparing for other people. But what you take in is either going to help you or hurt you. It's either going to help you live or it's going to kill you. One of the two. So taking in healthy foods, taking in things that's going to energize us.
Not drinking a bottle of wine every night.
Oh, well, I'm a wine lover.
It's borderline. It's borderline, right? It's borderline treating yourself and self-care.
It's a little bit of both, but we have to balance it. One of the things of self-help is setting boundaries. So some boundaries around our wine glasses. But that is, I'm a wine lover as well, so I feel you there. But definitely being conscious of what we're taking in and creating healthy behaviors. Give yourself at least 30 days to try something new. That might mean stop the sugar, stop the bread, stop the coffee. I did a 7-day detox the other day, and
That's
by day 5, I was about to climb a wall. But I felt so much better down the road, after I did that. So taking in healthy, eating healthy and healthy habits. And then the third one, that it's an ugly word, but we need it. It's exercise. We have to move. We have to move our bodies at least 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. That might be a walk around the block. Take the kids out. Let them run off some of that energy since they've been cooped into the house. Let them run some of that energy off in the evenings and walk behind them or walk with them. And when we think about exercise, it's not taking on these massive, marathons, or I got to get in 3 miles today or 5 miles today. No, just 30 minutes. Go up and down the stairs in your house at your pace, but do something out of the norm of your routine, your average routine. So those are 3 that anyone can implement immediately.
Yeah, and ultimately just being intentional. And these are just tips, of course, that Shaundra is giving us here at the beginning of Women's History Month here on our Women Crushing It Wednesday. And we're going to talk some more with her about being intentional here in your purpose, so that way you can ultimately be greater on the way here on the All New Vibe, Houston's Culture Evolution at KTSU 90.9. Keep those radios locked in. Michele McKnight here on this Women Crushing It Wednesday on the All New Vibe, Houston's Culture Evolution of KTSU 90.9. And this month, for Women's History Month, we're inviting even more dope women into the studio, so that way we can shine a light on all of the great talent and all of the successful women that we have right here in our city. So if there's ever a woman that you would like to nominate to be a guest, you can head to vibehouston.com. And we are very fortunate to have Coach Shaundra, life coach Shaundra, that is here with us tonight. We've been talking about being intentional. We've been talking about being intentional, especially with self-care for yourself, because we do kind of just get overwhelmed and overindulge and just, I got to go, I got to get this done. I have 30,000 things on my agenda, but it's important for you to take time out for yourself to get some rest. I know another bad habit that it is that we tend to have, especially as women, especially in an era where social media is just always in your face, and which I also think that that's kind of a good thing, is we have to be more intentional about, putting the phone down sometimes,
definitely.
And not always in every given moment where you do have some extra time scrolling through Instagram or Facebook or just, all that screen time anyway. But for those women who kind of fall into that trap of, getting consumed by other people's, chapter that they're in their life, where they thought that they would have been at this moment in time in their life, and they're still nowhere near, we all have like this mental checklist where it's like, okay, I'm supposed to be married. I'm supposed to have kids by this age. I was supposed to have purchased my first house by now. And now you see this other person who, is only posting all of the stuff that it is, of course, that they want to share, and not necessarily being transparent about everything that's going on in their life. And we constantly get in this thing of we're comparing ourselves like, well, gosh, crap. Like, what is it that I'm not getting right? What advice do you have for those women specifically, or just people in general, really, that fall into that?
First of all, know that you are where you are supposed to be, that you are right where you are supposed to be in life. And comparison is the thief of all joy. As long as we are continuing to compare ourselves to other people, we will not be able to be grateful for the positions that we're in right now. And part of self-care is a spirit of gratitude and a spirit of being thankful. And it's hard to be gracious and thankful and negative and comparing yourself to someone else at the same time. So remember that comparison is the thief of all joy, and that you are right where you are supposed to be. If you get in a intentional habit of being grateful for where you are, it opens up purpose. It opens up other avenues of where you're supposed, your directions that you're supposed to go. And one thing I tell young ladies, especially our younger ladies, younger group, is that 95% of what you see on social media is the best, or 5% of what you see on social media is the best 5% of the 100% of a person's life. Does that make sense? So they're only giving you the best 5% of their whole life. And you're taking their best 5% and comparing 100% of your life to it. You can't do that. It's like apples to oranges. And so going back to thief, it's the comparison of, I'm getting tongue-tied. Comparison is the thief of joy. So don't allow yourself to get trapped into the 5% of someone else, comparing that to 100% of your life.
I love that. And that's one thing I think I implemented that at one point in time when I was going through a nasty breakup. You do tend to, whenever you have a down moment, and I know a lot of people, a couple of my friends anyway, that can kind of attest to this, is they would get in a moment where whenever they had downtime, their thoughts would start to go to the left. And so then in turn, it's like, okay, well, let me make sure I don't have any downtime. So let me make sure that I'm stacking my schedule one thing on top of another to where I'm just super exhausted exhausted by the end of the day. I can't do anything other than just go to sleep. But even that is not a healthy thing.
I was just about to say that, definitely not a healthy habit. Set your day with intention at the beginning of your day. Give your day some direction to go in so that you're not just busy, but the activities throughout your day are intentional towards purpose, intentional towards the greater good. And it's not just let me do this, let me do this, let me do this, so that I don't think about that. Giving that your day some guidance where your energy goes. Tell your energy where you want it to go in that day. And then take the time to learn the lesson from the situation that you are attempting to distract yourself from. You're laughing. But it's the lesson that keeps bringing us back to that same routine or that same habit. So distracting yourself doesn't help you get over the issue. It doesn't teach you the lesson. It just buries it under something else.
Temporary fix.
It's a temporary. It is such a very temporary fix, because what happens is it still plays in your subconscious. So even when you're asleep, you're still focusing on and thinking about the thing that you're attempting to suppress. So it's still there. But learn the lesson. That's part of self-care, setting those boundaries. Put some boundaries there. Put some things in place that blocks those thoughts and that helps you learn the lesson. I always say mitigate the damage and move forward.
There you go. Tips to the trade. We're going to help you be great here this Women's History Month, ladies. It's Women Crushing It Wednesday with Coach Shaundra. We'll have more with her on the way, coming up on the all-new Vibe Houston's Culture, Evolution of KTSU 90.9. The evolution of KTSU 90.9, the all-new Vibe, Houston's Culture. Michele McKnight here on this Women Crushing It Wednesday. Coach Shaundra, she has definitely been dropping some gems on us. And she has been telling us about how you need to direct and tell your energy where it needs to go. You need to be intentional with your day. And here at the beginning of a new month, fresh energy, fresh perspective, a new start. And also it being the beginning of Women's History Month, we just wanted to kind of help you to set some goals here at the start of a new month. So that way you can, again, be intentional with where it is that you're going. It ultimately is going to help you with your success, as you've been talking about with self-care. Self-care doesn't always just have to be a mani and pedi day and a massage. It can be with your mental and you really training yourself to be more intentional. Again, we just keep saying that word intentional because I'm a firm believer that you have to be intentional. You don't just wake up and just go with the flow.
You're right.
And then that way just things fall in place. It might help and, it might happen like that for some people. But definitely, not more than those people who are actually structuring out things, their thoughts, their plans for the day, making sure they get the proper rest that it is that they need. And these are all things that Coach Shaundra talks about with her clients.
Yes.
She is a life coach.
Yes.
And that is something that she does, ultimately just to help her clients to really just kind of map out a goal with what their plan is, how you want to be successful, what are the ways that it is that you can line things up to obtain that success.
Right.
And so anybody that may want to reach out to you here to get some more information, have a consultation, and sit down with you, how would they do that?
Would love it. So you can reach me on all social media platforms. I am Life Coach Shaundra on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can also find me by sending an email. Just drop me an email at info@lifecoach Shaun, that's SHAUND as in diva, WILL gmail.com. That's info@lifecoachshaundra.com. And just send me a quick email to say interested, and then I'll reach out to you and tell you how we can connect.
And she's a beam of light. I'm sure that you can hear it coming through the airways right now. We were just talking about the fact that I think that we should definitely start a kickoff with each month here with just some words of advice, so that way you can drop some gems. And, also, too, it's just like a person that needs to be refueled by going and hearing a sermon every week. You have to have that constant reminder, because it's like, what, I do need to do that. But then, just like we do whenever we map out whatever our New Year's resolutions are going to be, 2 weeks after the fact, we're right back to the same things and the same system and routine that we were doing before, which was not helping us to obtain where we wanted to be.
Let's tap into that potential at the beginning of every month, because everyone has the potential to be great. Sometimes you just need to be reminded that it's there. So that's what I'm here for, to remind you of the potential that you have within you.
There you have. Coach Shawn D, appreciate you again
You're
coming in and being
welcome.
a guest
Thank
for Women
you.
Crushing It Wednesday here, Women's History Month. And again, if there's ever a woman of influence in the Houston area you would like to nominate to come and be a guest on the show, you can do so up at vibehouston.com.